Hello everyone, today we are making a crustless quiche, and I'm so glad I found this recipe because making a crust for quiche can be very time consuming because you have to bake the crust ahead of time. And we really don't need it. Mainly we need the protein and all the other delicious ingredients in the quiche. Welcome to my channel. My name is Terry Lynn. Let's gather the ingredients together. And here are the ingredients. We have 3 eggs. We have a little dried mustard. We have shredded cheese. We have diced onion, milk, but I'm going to turn this into a whipping cream with a little margarine, with a little melted butter or margarine. You can turn it into a whipping cream if you don't have whipping cream. And we have salt and pepper, and we have pulled pork. This is going to be a pulled pork quiche, so we're adding extra protein that way, and a little olive oil, and a special ingredient that is purely optional, finely chopped kale. This is to make the quiche extra healthy and to use up some garden produce. So first thing we're doing, we turn the oven up to 375. And I sprayed a baking dish. I'm only making half a recipe, by the way. The full recipe takes 6 eggs, and you would probably use a larger pan, or this pan would be extremely full after it's done. And I'm heating up some olive oil. We'll saute the onions and the kale together. Just for a few minutes. Okay. It said 4 to 5 minutes. You can go under that if you like. It doesn't matter really. Just a few minutes. Now, I didn't realize that this pulled pork has barbecue sauce mixed in with it. It's from the can. Also, it only calls for 1 cup, and the can had like 1.5 cups. I didn't add all of it. I just measured out 1 cup. And the rest of it you can put on crackers or on a sandwich, half a sandwich. It's not enough for a full sandwich, I don't think. So we're going to pour the pork in here. Ooh. So this is going to be a little different because it has barbecue sauce. Even though this is already fully cooked, the recipe says to saute it in the pan just for a little while with the onion. And in this case, kale, because I'm using kale. So our quiche is going to have a little barbecue flavor. This is different, and I like different. I don't know about you, but I like different. This is what I had. I'm using what I have. You just cook that for a few minutes and blend the flavors together. And then we'll pour the meat mixture into the sprayed baking dish and spread it out. Put that aside. Normally you would start with the eggs, whisking the eggs, but because we're creating heavy whipping cream, we're going to do that part first in the same bowl. I have some cooled melted margarine. You can use butter. I'm going to whisk that just for a little while so we can make our whipping cream, because I didn't have whipping cream. And I'm sure I made quiche before with milk, and it turned out just fine. Just whisk it for a little while. Yes, it is starting to thicken. It's working. In a separate bowl, I always measure out the eggs. I always put the eggs in a bowl before I add them to anything, just to make sure they're good. Make sure they're not spoiled or anything, and these are good eggs. I'm going to whisk this very well and add it to the cream mixture, and then we'll whisk some more. I have our seasonings in a little ramekin, just mixing them together here. Adding salt, pepper, and ground mustard. I'm using less cheese than what it calls for because it's just not necessary to use all that cheese, in my opinion. We have plenty of delicious flavor with that barbecued pulled pork. Save some of the cheese here for the topping for later on. Okay, so we'll whisk that in. Okay, now we can add this to the pulled pork mixture. And it's time to bake. The recipe says to bake it for 35 to 45 minutes, but that's for a full recipe. So I imagine this will only take about 35 minutes because it's only half a recipe. While the quiche is baking, we are going to make a healthy relish tray using celery, tomato, and oranges. I just chopped up some celery and I'm going to put a cream cheese mixture on this. I just have a little bit of cream cheese left. I'm going to add a little garlic powder to give it more flavor, along with some chopped green onion. And we'll just mix that around with the cream cheese. I'm going to add just a little bit of ranch dressing to make this less dense and more creamy for the celery. There we go. We're going to put the cream cheese on the celery. And this celery is very, very skinny, as you can see. So I'm going to do that several times here. My husband has fond memories of his mother making cream cheese and celery appetizers. He really enjoys this. I'm just giving the appetizer here a little garnish with the green part of the chopped onion. I don't have very many left. But that makes it look so much more attractive. Don't you agree? I think it does. So we have one of our little appetizers ready. And now we slice some tomato to go on the platter also. I sliced it up in little moon shape. I just sliced the tomato in half is all I did. Tomato goes perfect with quiche. Next we'll do some orange slices. And here we have our healthy relish tray. I think it just looks amazing. You could put a little olive oil on your tomatoes if you like, and maybe a little Parmesan cheese. But I think we're fine with what we have here. We can always put salt and pepper on our tomatoes. Everything else is, you can eat the way it is. It's already good to go. Just took the quiche out of the oven and I am overwhelmed. I'm just going to go ahead and call this barbecued pulled pork quiche. I'll give you the recipe that I used, but you can see that I changed it up. You can change it up if you want, or you can stick with the recipe that I give you, which is tried and true, I'm sure. But for me, this will probably be something I make all the time now, maybe once a month. And it goes great with this relish tray. But you know what? They recommend that you wait a whole half hour before you eat your quiche, because quiche is better served lukewarm. So we have time to make some people call them loaded tater tots, but I'm not going to go that far. I don't have any bacon. Cheesy tater tots. So let's put some tater tots, frozen tater tots from the freezer. Let's put them in the oven while the oven is still going. I'm just going to bake the tater tots at 425 Fahrenheit, preheated oven, of course, for about 15 minutes. Turn them over. Then I'm going to put shredded cheese on them and just bake them for maybe 5 minutes. I took the zucchini bread out of the freezer and I'm going to slice up a couple pieces here to go along with our brunch. As you can see, I set the table for my husband and I to have our little brunch together, and it looks very nice. And the tater tots will be over here in a little fancy dish. And I have some apple juice. We don't have orange juice, but I have apple juice we're going to pour into the wine glasses. Now I'm out in the garden and I'm going to pick some zinnias for a vase for the table setting and some parsley to garnish the quiche. I believe we will pick the smaller orange flowers. And maybe I'll use one yellow. Yeah, one yellow in the middle. That will look good. I'm going to put it in a clear glass. And then I'm also going to pick some parsley. I took the tater tots out of the oven and put them in a dish, turned them over, put them on a baking dish so that the cheese doesn't stick to the, I had aluminum foil down in a pan, but I didn't want the cheese to stick to that. So we're going to put a little cheese on these and just put it back in the oven for probably 3 minutes. I don't like real melted. I don't like my cheese too melted. And let's look at the whole picture here. So you got fresh flowers in the back. I didn't put the fresh flowers here because I thought they might block the way when we were passing the food around. So I put them towards the back. But this is a fall table setting for brunch. It can be for Sunday brunch or brunch any day of the week that you have off for a holiday or something. It could be for, you could increase the amount of food, you know, actually use the full recipe. And this could be for 4 people or more if you have a larger table and more chairs. Thanks for watching today. We had a blast, my husband and I. He was delighted when he woke up and I surprised him with his fall brunch. This is a frugal style brunch. We used what we had, we improvised. It didn't cost hardly any money. I encourage you to do something very similar. Like I said, on a Sunday, for a holiday, or any day of the week that you have the time to pull this off. I think it's beautiful and it's wonderful and very inspiring. Let me know what you think in the comments section. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you on the next one.